And good evening.
Jack.
This meeting is being recorded and will be uploaded to Biddulph Town Council's YouTube page. The aim is that decision-making should be transparent and in the public domain, and it will involve more of our community in local democracy. By being in the council chamber, you are consenting to be recorded and that for your image to be added to the YouTube. Images and sound may be used for training purposes. Any views expressed by the speaker's own are their own and do not reflect necessarily the view of the council. Please view the guidance on recording in public meetings policy. If you need any more information, contact the Chief Officer. Thank you. Well, it is very, very nice to be back.
It's nice to see you, isn't it?
I must praise the Deputy Chair for standing in for me while I was ill. He's done a very, very good job, on top of the fact he's Deputy Chair at the district. And thank you very much, Adam, for the work you've done. They're much appreciated. And I always check with certain members of the committee and see how things are going. And you've got 100% on truly.
A lot smoother, actually, Chair.
Thank you. I like you too as well. Right. Good job with Fred.
Where?
Approval of the substitute members. Are there any?
There are, apologies are from Councillor Salt and Councillor Lawton and no substitute members.
Right. Declarations of interest. Disclosure of pecuniary interest and dispensations. Do we have any? No? Other interests? No. Right. Item 50, minutes. To approve and sign the minutes of Recreation and Amenities Committee meeting on Tuesday, the 12th of November 2024. We've done that. So am I able to sign, please? Thank you very much. I will initial these. Remember to put 25.
Yes, thank you.
I haven't written my first check yet with 25 on it. Right, to receive feedback. Oh, no, sorry, B. To receive the minutes of the meeting of the Transport Working Group held on Wednesday, the 4th of December. Proposer and seconder, please. Proposed, seconded, councillor. Second. Thank you very much. Are there any anything in there that we're particularly interested in? No? All those in favour? Thank you.
All over, the bad weather, St John's Road. And I'm just wondering if anybody knows whether the parking issues from the school was in any way a contributory factor to the accidents that went on there. I mean, I'm just asking out of curiosity. I'm thinking that if perhaps it was. I mean, I'm also thinking there's probably not a lot of teachers actually got there that day anyway, so it may not have even been an issue at all. But I'm just wondering whether those line of parked cars that are there usually had any sort of contributory factor to what went on.
You wish to make an inquiry about that? Please.
I'm thinking if it would be information to feed back to the Transport Working Group, and perhaps another boat to our arrows, another arrow to our bow, if we want to try and do something with that issue there. So
that's a significant issue there, the parking with the staff and everything. But if Chief Officer.
I was just going to say, anecdotally, our understanding from those who were involved on the day was that it was mostly because it hadn't been gritted or hadn't been gritted recently. So it was just, the road was just a sheet of ice. I don't think there was, obviously we weren't there, but I don't think there was any feedback that the parking itself had caused the problems. The accessibility, well, it is an issue, isn't it? But the accessibility of the road was, I think, the problem.
Yes, those might be, you know.
Yes, quite possibly. Thank you, councillor Harper. May I add that not being driving for a little while, I have used the 93 bus very recently, and because I get picked up in Woodhouse Lane at the end of my drive, I have to do practically a full circuit before I get to Gillow Heath. So it's quite enlightening. You get to talk to people. I would recommend councillors get your bus pass and go and sit and talk to the people who are using it. And you don't know how much they appreciate that service.
A while ago, I did suggest a booze cruise up to Crown.
Yeah. But I do recommend councillors travel on it because it is an exceptional service, and Saturday morning service. I've had comments back about that. They think it's absolutely marvellous. They can actually get out on a Saturday. Right, let's move on. Thank you. To 51, to receive feedback following the consultation on proposed allotment policy changes and to approve vital documents. Chief Officer.
Thank you. So towards the end of last year, you're aware that we reviewed all of our allotment documentation. We spent quite a bit of time talking about this as a committee and then coming up with different drafts, particularly because we wanted to deal appropriately with the idea that somebody might not be a tenant in their own right, but might have a partner who works with them and essentially, according to our previous paperwork, had no rights to the tenancy should that person cease to be around, for want of a better phrase, however that may be. And so you would approve some wording and some policy changes, and they have been for consultation with the existing tenants and on the website for consideration for potential tenants. So you've got a 2-page summary there on essentially the feedback from there. So if you look at the kind of second column, it's the action the council's to approve further amendments section. I don't know if there's anything in particular anybody wants me to talk through on there. There's some proposed policy changes that are detailed there. Don't know if anybody's got, want me to just carry on talking?
Yes, carry on.
Yeah, fine, okay.
Councillor Jackson would like to add something.
Okay.
Yeah, just on the bottom block on the last line.
Yeah.
You said last plot holder should lock the gate.
Yeah.
Did you say will lock the gate?
It can be.
Rather than I mean, should is a bit, if it's left open, I said I should have done, but I didn't. But he said you will lock it, then if you haven't locked it, you were the last person off. How we'd find out that person was the last person, I don't think it mattered what it. Yeah, if everybody's happy with that.
Councillor Yates.
I'll just change it to if there's the responsibility of the last allotment owner to lock the gate, makes it a bit stronger and clearer.
Do you think, Chief Officer?
Either or.
Either or.
It's the onus really, and that is that the last person there needs to lock the gate. So if you want the wording to be a bit stronger, then that's absolutely fine. We can make that. So we'd only had one comment from the 12 responses to say that they felt that should be stronger. So I think that would satisfy that person. In terms of the section above, so that's this talking about this concept of a registered partner. So there is then a tenant registers somebody as their partner, and then there's a process to go through should the tenant ever not become the tenant, not be the tenant anymore. But that is something that current allotment holders are quite keen on, particularly those who garden together. There's a couple. There's only one of them that's currently the tenant, but actually they might both put the same amount of work in and feel that we've got some role there. So that's strengthening that words and kind of responding to the issues there. We'd had one comment that people would like us to say the things that shouldn't be included in the brown bins. So on the page over, we've talked about that being soil, clay, stones or bricks, because obviously the onus is on tenants to move those brown bins. And if they're
Yes.
full up of all that sort of stuff, that makes that an impossible task. Quite a number of people then felt that we should change the size of the greenhouse. Actually, I think that was a historical measurement that we'd included in there. And actually, most standard greenhouses are actually larger than the dimensions that we've got. So done a bit more research on that. That's absolutely reasonable. We're happy to remember those dimensions if everybody else is happy with that. And then just some change of wording to this idea again of a registered partner, and if you want to terminate who your registered partner is, and the process to go through there. So in terms of other actions that we've taken, we've updated the web page. So all of this information, subject to your approval, will be finalised on there. In terms of our internal monitoring and internal management of the process, we've updated the how-to document, which is essentially what tells you how to run a council. And then we've updated the risk assessment. We're in the process of developing a tenant's handbook that we will share when there's a version of that. That's essentially a kind of shorter version, I suppose, of the policy. And then we will work with 4 people who immediately have identified that they want to have a registered partner agreement. So we'll change those subject to your approval today.
Sounds pretty reasonable. Councillor Jackson.
Yeah, just for information, really, what's the waiting list looking at by now? And you know, the last time we did a sweep, as it were.
Well, we do that annually, and now we're at the stage where not many people come off because they're all very keen. It's usually between 25 and 30. Is that where we are? Yeah, between 25 and 30.
Okay.
Good. Are you happy with
Just on that, realise about town council finances. But could we perhaps do a survey of the people who are waiting and ask about would they be amenable to an allotment off Shepherd Street, Slater Street?
Yeah, we can ask that question.
I mean, it's an ambition that we do that, but
Yep.
you know, we're going off. People are on the waiting list, they'll go there, but we don't really know for sure whether that would suit them at that particular one. So I'm just trying to get some clarity. So we're pushing forward with that other, you know, allotment project. It would be useful as a baseline to know how many people might want to go there.
If I can,
Yeah,
I'm just thinking that maybe we want to avoid naming any specific place in light of not knowing it happened. But you could say, are you amenable to having an allotment elsewhere in Biddle?
yes.
So I think that the information I'm after, Adam, is to see whether those 25, 30 people, 35 people, how many of them would go on a site, which we probably get 20 allotment pitches on that
At least.
land.
And use that as.
And use that then as perhaps a lever with the district council to say, look, we've got a waiting list of a minimum of 30 people, or whatever it might be, that are quite prepared to actually go on this. I know we're struggling for the money side of it at the moment, but at least we've got that information there for the future.
It's probably advantageous considering what we all saw in the Biddle Chronicle about the future of local government. And the possibility of assets moving around, and we shall have to see. It gives us an incentive, doesn't it?
Just hoping for something this side of death.
I'm hoping you'll still be around in 2028.
I don't buy green bananas anymore.
I know.
Do you think, sorry, Chair, do
Go
you
on.
think it would be acceptable to say something about we are considering a site in the Biddle Feast area? Maybe narrow it down a little bit so that we're not
Yes.
being very specific on a potential site.
Now, go on.
Without
It's the information that I'm
without
really.
pinning them down and you know, without them having feeling they have to give a firm commitment, could they just as a,
Okay, thank you.
you know, an indication?
I mean, to be quite honest, Councillor Jackson, if half of the people on the waiting list said they'd be quite happy, that takes 50% of the pressure off.
Yeah.
and gives us the necessary information that we need to perhaps persuade people that this could be transacted to us. I'm going to move on now.
You've had me hand up for some time.
Oh, sorry, I do apologise.
It's the bottom block, the tenant is allowed to terminate a registered partner. At any time, etc. Well, surely it's got to be, yeah, I know what you're thinking. But it's got to be by
I'm just
mutual
thinking,
agreement.
you're thinking that.
Yeah, it's got to be by mutual agreement. Unless the person's deceased or what have you.
Chief Officer.
Yeah, no, the tenant is the primary person. So in the way that the legislation is written and the way that allotments policies are usually kind of put together, you have a tenant. And what we're proposing is to have a tenant who registers somebody as their partner who then we could potentially work with going forward. That's the idea of the tenant is the one that still holds the responsibility as to whether or not the registered partner is the right registered partner.
Yeah.
So we wouldn't consult with the registered partner because they aren't the tenant. It's not a joint tenancy.
Right, so it's not a joint.
No.
Right, thank you, you've cleared that one up.
Yes, absolutely.
But they still can't terminate. You know what I mean? It's Arnie Schwarzenegger here.
So we should be cautious of the word terminate.
Yes, we should.
Can I say that, Chief Officer, but actually the wording is, and it is quite amusing, actually, because, you know, we have terminating registered partners, and actually if you go two above there, I mean, a great icon of the 1960s, poor Twiggy, can go in brown bins, apparently. What can go in an on-site brown bin? Twiggy, woody material, perennial weeds, which I find quite interesting, maybe twigs.
Oh, I see, yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Are you identifying a type?
Yes.
No, I just found quite amusing that Twiggy, I mean, everybody's looking at me blankly. Icon of the 60s.
Yes. Oh.
Still is, mate, in my book.
Thank you very, very much. Are we done with that now? Proposer and seconder, please. Proposer, seconder.
Hang on, who have you got?
I've
Councillor
got
Harper.
Councillor Yates and Councillor Proudlove.
You're sitting there, that's it.
Show of hands.
No hands, please. Thank you, unanimous. Thank you very, very much.
Document.
It's a very, very good document. Lots of very hard work put into that. And we're going to move on now to 52 to receive a presentation of footpath work at the burial ground, proposal for remedial actions. Chief Officer.
This is going to cause a problem for you two gentlemen because I don't think you can see it. Can you go?
I can listen, though.
Everyone see this?
I can listen.
See yours.
I can't see it now.
We can see your screen there, can't we?
Yes, so that'll do, thank you. So we've talked previously about the need for some footpath work at the town burial ground across the St Lawrence's site. Fortunately, don't need anything doing at Woodhouse, that's fine. But as is the way with these things, a lot of the footpath work was done at the same time, so it's all
Yes.
needing some attention at a similar time. But as funds permit, over the next year, we've got some areas that are identified as high priority. So there are three of those in particular. So the first picture is where a drain manhole cover has collapsed. So there's some work that needs doing there. That's in the churchyard section. Is an area that's very uneven. At the moment, I don't say that's a high risk in terms of trips and slips, but actually needs some work before as a kind of preventative measure. And at the entrance to the Garden of Remembrance, the ground is significantly higher around a drain, which potentially causes some stable ground. Not unstable, that's not the right word. Unlevel.
Unlevel.
Yeah, and it's an area that lots of people use. What we have also identified, and we are next, is there are quite a lot of the paths within the burial ground that need some treatment for moss.
Yes.
So we would like to do some work on them. I think they essentially need scrubbing and jet washing, if such a thing is possible, with no kind of connection to mains.
Yes.
Must be a way to do that. There are 4 paths in particular there that are very mossy, largely because they're underneath trees, that need some attention as well. So that obviously as things get wetter, you know, in the colder weather, they are not a slip hazard. I will send you this because I don't think you can see the next one necessarily. That's the map, the high priority areas. So if you can see where the yellow path is, I don't know, path 4, it's a kind of yellowy one. Yeah, that's where the drains collapsed. Path 6 is the grey one, kind of around the middle. Path 8 is the red one, and just off the roundabout there. So they're the 3 that are the priority, and then obviously the moss covered paths are throughout the rest of the site. So what we'd like to do is to get quotations for the 3 areas that need some attention, and then to ask the landsman to deal with the moss covered paths. We would, in the first instance, rather than resurfacing those 3 areas that need some attention, we'll make repairs to those to try and keep costs down. We had previously resurfaced quite large areas of footpaths.
We have in the past.
But I think given the issues are largely around drainage and kind of uneven services, kind of just changing those areas would be a priority at the moment.
So, thank you. Well, that's pretty comprehensive.
Just easier, I think, to show you photos on the screen rather than trying to print them out in packs and that sort of thing.
Yeah. So you've seen all the photographs on the screen.
Yeah, I can send that round as well if you want
Yes.
to look at those in greater detail.
Pretty definite what we need to do. Comments, Nigel?
Yeah, just going, not related to the past, but related to obviously erosion and things, which there are quite a few graves of the new ones which have actually sunk. Does the landsman level those up as part of the normal, or is that left to the person who owns the grave?
We get the grave digger to do that periodically.
Right, okay, because down associated where the roundabout is, there's the tree which is just overlooking the roundabout. There's quite a few graves there which have sunk quite considerably.
The children's graves.
Oh, no, that's the adults' graves.
Thank you, Councillor Yates. Councillor Jones?
It's very obvious when you go down.
Yeah, just picking up on that point, I'm fairly sure the responsibility for keeping the gravestone level is the family that owns the grave. I know.
No, sorry, just a point of correction. No, it's not the gravestone. It's actually the plot itself is bellied in as.
Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah.
They've sunk.
The grass, there's been a straight swathe of grass.
I see what you mean.
in front of
Well,
it.
even that. I mean, I know on the grave, the 2 graves I maintain, that's where I've just done.
Yeah.
Most families would do it, but obviously you can get the odd one that is.
Yeah.
Right. Thank you, Councillor Jones.
Gone well, so I was going to say now. Oh, I know what I was going to say. I'll just move that we ask Sarah to proceed with getting some prices, and it's got to be done. It's got to be done.
Councillor Pott?
Yeah, Councillor Jones has just stolen my thunder, absolutely. At the end of the day, it's a health and safety issue, so it's not one that you can even question.
It's not going to be millions of pounds.
I've got a proposer. Councillor Jackson, you're seconded, are you? Proposing? Councillor Jones? Right. All those in favour? Unanimous. Thank you very much. That was well decided. I
Thank
think it's a measured response. We don't want to go over the top. We want to make sure that the job is done properly.
We do, thank you.
To agree the date of the allotments annual meeting, Chief Officer.
Thank you. I know this is something that you all look forward to with bated breath.
Be chaired by Councillor.
Councillor Rogers historically.
Historically has done that. Are you up for that, Councillor Rogers?
He's got time.
I know.
He wants an allotment.
Go on, fire away.
Just the only slight, yeah, it's proposed it's on the Independence Night, doesn't it? So I can't be at both meetings, that's the only thing.
We've really very short of dates until March. So
Just a suggestion, could you make it starting half an hour later, possibly?
at the same time as your independence meeting.
Oh, no, it's yours, so starting early then, so you want to start at 6:30, don't you, so?
Yeah.
I think it's start a little bit later. Could it start at 6?
The allotment holders have requested 6:30 to allow them to get. The date that we're looking at is
Yours, you can get it done in half an hour.
Yes,
Tuesday,
it's up
the
to you.
4th of February is the date that we're looking at for that.
We'll work around,
You're all right with that?
yeah,
Yeah, thank you.
40.
So are you happy that that date is okay and the starting time and everything? All those in favour?
I'm happy.
Thank you.
See you there.
It'll be interesting. I shall go as an observer, I think. Jobs for the Lanksman, that monthly thing that we do. Come on, have you got any jobs for the Lanksman? There's not many councils that do this sort of standard agenda item. Councillor Jones, go on.
Chair, just one little thing, that given the weather that we've just had, it's probably too late now, but we did have Lanksman going down, putting piles of grit in places last winter or the winter before. And those piles, a couple of them now disappeared, and I only noticed after the snow had fallen and the ice had formed. And I just wondered if we could, next time we got some bad, well, before we get some more bad weather, we could perhaps reinstate some of those. One happened at Hurst Road by Towers, one in particular.
Yeah, no, I remembered that. The issue we've had this year is that previously we've been an ice buster. We've had a delivery of grit here, which has enabled us to then spread that in areas like that. We haven't had the grit that we would normally have here. So I have made those inquiries. So certainly we'll top up the Hurst Road one at the availability of some grit.
Yes, thank you.
The council please can help then.
Councillor Yates.
Oh, it's funny you should say that. I was speaking to the senior highways inspector, and he did say that upon request, he can arrange that delivery to something they've done before, because I was sort of highlighting a number of issues around the town, and he did say, well, in the past, we've done this in conjunction with Biddle Town Council, and we are quite prepared to do it again on request. I don't think they would volunteer to do it unless chivied, but he is open to that suggestion. So I think,
That's good.
if there is a view to next time do it, get them stand by and get them done.
Still time to the chair, there's still plenty of time for bad weather to come in.
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. Councillor Rogers.
Yeah, it's not really well, just for Lanksman in some ways, but as we know, we've had severe ice recently. Now it's thawing. There's some massive potholes occurring. I think there's any hopes, going through the chair to Councillor Yates on this, that the Lanksman could do some repairs. Obviously, they have to have a little bit of training, and then they get paid for doing it.
I very much doubt it, Councillor Rogers. I'm.
Highways is a nightmare, which is out of our control.
It is, and it only makes up, is it 4% of the budget, Councillor Yates?
Yes, it's only out of your control if you don't report them. If you report them, they are actually, and they are proper, they are actually quite proactive. I will give them that due, and they're not my side, but I will defend that. I've reported a couple and raised an eyebrow that they have actually repaired them relatively quickly. The reason the Lensmans can't do them is, one, there is a very strict agreed specification, and secondly, there is a pretty robust contracted procurement, and the subcontractor, because you're talking about subcontracting, would actually be Amy. And if you do notice in the summer when you see a lot of work being done, it's very, very rarely that Amy do it. Amy actually organises the subcontract.
Yes.
And it is easier, sort of the way local government procurement works, to have one senior contractor and allow them to subcontract, to try and vet multiple subcontractors.
Yes. Thank you.
You get a bit, over subcontractors get a bit.
I did say that, but I did particularly challenge that thing, if we can just indulge me, and I was told is that the savings in the procurement, in the bureaucracy for the procurement process for the county to negotiate a subcontract themselves, the costs are higher than getting Amy to do that subcontract work for them. What's the same way, I suppose, is that the town hall frontage, the chap who contracted actually isn't doing any physical work, is he?
Thank you very much.
Yeah, she said he wasn't, so it's all subcontractors. But anyway, that's that kind of gist. Okay. Project manager.
He's doing quite an amount of the work, but then get some subcontractors in.
Just trying to
Do. Thank you very much.
really.
Jobs for the Lanksman, yes, let's keep, the other thing is, next time we get some weather, please, can we put some grit around the visitors centre, particularly on the disabled car park? I know it's gravel, but
That's not our area, Chair. That's within the remit of Staffordshire Wildlife Trust. I mean, we can start gritting the country park if you want, but.
I wish you would, I fell up there the other day.
yes, I've got two things. I've actually been up there, and it's. I was told that a lady had fallen and she'd broken her leg, and they had the ambulance up there. And I know that Councillor Jones has had difficulties. my partner was having kittens when I was trying to walk in the iced up area just outside the entrance to the visitor centre, and it was pretty dangerous. I just wondered if we could do something, because I nearly went to Cropper voluntarily.
So as far as our role is concerned, we've got a winter management plan, as you know. There's a grip in there, which Kath and anyone else can grip the paths around the visitor centre. As regards anywhere else in the country park, I gather that particular incident happened at the bottom of the Himalayan walk. Well,
That's not for us.
Just,
I didn't know. It was just reported to me as I happened to be there. As you do, as you're a councillor, people grab you and say, "Did you know that somebody fell? And there was an ambulance up here." And you don't know where, you don't know when. Councillor Jones, next speaker.
Yeah, the chief officer's pretty much said what I was going to say. There's a grip bin. There's a grip bin by the visitor centre gate, by the door, and does use it. She does spread the grip there. As for the rest of the park, it's just ridiculous to expect that to be gritted or even cut.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
And, you know, I fell quite heavily last week and ended up in A&E. But, you know, it's my fault. You're going in a country park on a country walk, look where you're going. It's as simple as that. You know, you can't expect the council, any council, district, town or county to grit a wood. So
I was never suggesting that. It was just around the visitor centre.
as for the visitor centre, where the pedestrian bit is, it was gritted. It's been gritted.
Yeah.
Because there's a grit bin there.
Can only go by what I'm asked. Councillor Jackson.
If somebody fell in an ambulance came, they probably waited all day for the ambulance. So I can't believe that happened, quite honestly.
Probably all at Royal Stoke.
just to highlight one of the recommendations, I know you haven't been to all the meetings, but lately, but one of the recommendations from finance was, as far as Lensman stuff is concerned, we have seriously got to look at the work that Lensman does.
Yes.
Us,
Yeah.
and not
Third party.
work
Be doing
Stan.
for other organisations. I think that touches on a lot of other areas.
Absolutely. Thank you for reminding. Okay, right. So no further jobs for the Lanksman. And we're going to move over. And the next item, it's a confidential item. I am very sorry, sir, member of the public. Thank you for coming. We do appreciate that.
Good night.
Thank you.